at Meridian Winery. She said to make good wine, you need 3 things. 33% is science. You need to know your chemistry. 33% is art. You have to think what grapes are going to blend. 33% luck. Is the weather going to, what's the weather going to be? Oh, hey, I like that. I'm going to use her name is Tasha, I'm going to use her example for breeding. You got to have 33% science. Like this dog is throwing this. Now you have to have art. Like if I blend this with this, what am I going to get? And now you need some luck. I mean, that's just, I've seen it too many times. So like the big thing people are doing, well, the big thing that people are doing is they're breeding aggression. Aggression, and this is all up for argument. Anything you guys disagree with, argument. I believe all aggression is fear-based. All aggression. Prey aggression, fear of losing your prey. Toy aggression, your toy. Food aggression, fear of your food getting taken away. It's all fear-based. You can have many types. So here's, what are the drives dogs bite in mainly? There's 3 drives that a dog bites in. Prey, defense, and fight. I want to talk about this one. There's a theory going around there's no such thing as fight drive, and I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree.
Prey, there are several kinds of prey drive though. You can have prey play. A yellow lab, a ton of prey drive. It will chase the ball all day long, but you know what it's not going to do? Ever probably show real aggression like on the street. It's not bred for that. You can have what I'm going to call prey aggression, where the dog actively wants to possess something and you are in the way from it getting its possession. That's what I'm going to call, this is my own term, prey aggression. This is the drive I like to work in. I like that drive. Defense. This is no different than an animal defending itself, like you corner a dog. Oh, how about this? What's the best defensive animal without prey? A rattlesnake. What does defense want? The threat to go away. So if I'm walking up on a rattlesnake and I'm like, whoa, rattlesnake, I will actually turn my back to look for a shovel. I know it's not kicking into prey. It's not going to chase me. When I was in Florida doing this seminar, they said they have these cottonmouths.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was water moccasins. They said, these things will chase you. I'm like, what an evil animal. They said, you're in the boat and these things chase you. I'm like, oh.
Water moccasins.
Yeah, water moccasins.
Yeah, I was like,
hit by one here and one here, holding the fishing rods, walking down
I heard
the
they're
trail.
bad poison.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but they said they're aggressive.
That's
I'm
good.
like, anyway, so that's why I'm using a rattlesnake example. What does defense want? The threat to leave. It's when is the rattlesnake happiest? When the threat leaves. I do use defense. Why do I use defense? I can always touch on a dog's defense, whether it's tired, thirsty, hot, a bitch in season. I can touch on defense. But defense has to be a catalyst to kick it back into prey. I'm going to call this the happy window. Defense is the negative window. Prey is happy. How about this? You can picture this example. I have a dog that has not been trained by me, pretend it's chasing a cat across the field. So it is obviously not. So it's chasing a cat across the field. It's in prey drive. Prey is quiet. Prey is a quiet drive. You're not going to hear a dog barking doing it, so it's quiet. The cat goes to the corner and hisses, and say it's a young dog, an 8-month-old dog. Now the cat is in defense. The dog is now in conflict. It doesn't like this setup. It now wants to stand up. The dog will bark, trying to get the cat to what? Move. The cat jumps the fence, the dog jumps the fence, it's back in prey. So prey is the happy drive. Defense wants the threat to leave. So here's the key with defense. If ever you have a helper, young helpers mess up on this all the time. If you have a helper touching on defense, I don't ever like to give bites in defense, by the way. If they're touching on defense, just touching on it, they have to recognize flight behavior. Now here's what I'm talking about. Come on, here's something. Let me give an example before before I show you what I'm talking about. Let's say I'm at dinner with my wife, and I'm talking, and this big guy stands up, a big guy, 6'6", 300 pounds, and he says something inappropriate to my wife. And I stand up and I say, excuse me? And he goes, you know what, I was out of line, I shouldn't have said that. And he walks off. I look at my wife, I still got it, babe. Just me. So he left, and I felt strong. Now picture that same scenario happens. I say, excuse me? And he goes, what are you going to do about it? And I'm like, as hard as I can. And he goes, that's all you got? I'm going to be like, run, baby, run! I just gave him everything, and it didn't faze him. So when I'm working on defense on a dog, so let's just say it's safe defense. And you see that like 7, 8 months old. So the dog has only learned prey, happy things like we were doing yesterday. And now one time I come on the dog without a sleep. And the dog's like, that kind of felt real. And maybe you see the dog a little unsure. And it's rough, and it barks. Barking makes movement. I become prey. And he starts to say, hey, I am orchestrating the situation with the human. You can picture that, right?
Yeah.
So the dog's like, that kind of felt real. I thought we were always just playing this little game. But now I come on the dog a little. And the dog's like, whoa, what is this? And they even like, rough. And I take off running. It learns barking makes movement. The human is prey, no different than the cat example. Now picture the same thing. I do this. The dog gives me its best shot. Me standing up with the big guy. Rough. And now the dog starts going avoidance, and the leash goes a little loose. And he's like, I'm giving you my best shot. Run, honey, run. Best shot. The leash is now loose, and the dog's going into avoidance behavior. And now I leave. What caused prey? Insecurity. That's dangerous, and that's where helpers screw up all the time, and I've seen it 1,000 times. Because I'm giving him my best shot, I'm not winning. On an older dog, it's really hard. I'm talking about on the foundation of a dog when they start touching on defense. Defense is aggression. So, like I said, a type of aggression. So when you have defense, though, you want it to be a what? A catalyst to kick it back into prey drive. Never defense is a drive unto itself. It always goes back into prey. Or that means if I won, I really screwed up. If the helper ever wins, they really, really are a bad helper. Like, really bad. My job's to lose every single time. Every single time. But if the dog's here, I can never go here. But I push them. Now they're here. I'm going to be right here. I'm not going to keep having Michael Jordan play with a third grader. You know what I mean? Like you got to start pushing. But this is the talent of the helper right here. This is the drive. If you want to screw up a dog, that is the drive that will screw up a dog. If you have a new helper that doesn't know what they're doing, keep them in prey. Don't ever touch on defense. You're not going to get the points that you should in the aggression and the barking. You're not even going to get it.
I saw Sheba win the Nationals. That black lab in Canada. She was prey. And then I've seen people, like you said, 1,000 times, when they push the dog back, the dog is back. They run away because they thought they built the dog up. Because they got the whole thinking in
Well, what ends up happening is, first of all, people don't recognize flight behavior, first of all. And there's something called real time and dog time. And let me explain what I mean by this. This one lady from another club in California, I won't mention the club's name, she said, can you come evaluate my helper? I said, no, I don't do that. I don't evaluate helpers. I don't think it's professional. I don't think it's nice. She said, all right, can you come to the club and give me some ideas, she was a friend, what I should do with my dog? I said, yeah, sure. So I watch this helper. He's putting a lot of pressure on this dog. And it's this handsome sable, just like a lot of pressure. Look, a lot of pressure, but the dog was biting great. It was on the pole, back time, biting great. And I'm like, that's an impressive dog. It was a nice, sturdy dog. And after the session, I asked a friend, I said, is that a Schutzhund 3 dog, or how old? She goes, no, he's 13 months old. My mouth dropped. She said, you disagree with this? And I said, do not say anything to him, because I wasn't here to evaluate your helper. I said, that dog will not want to bite 6 months. If I told the club that, they would have been like, Joel, you're an idiot. Look. I mean, look. I'm like, you can't sustain that. It's impossible. It's too young. You're sticking, a child in the ring with Mike Tyson. But it looked good. I mean, maybe the kid has a lot of fight. and that dog never made a Schutz more. Never even made a title. But yeah, it just stopped biting. It just could not sustain. And I'm like, I know, I told you. So I use defense carefully to tap it into prey. We use something called the square table on my field. So my field, we have this round table that I call the thinking table. I have, how high is that table, Sandy? 3 foot?
Yeah, something like that.
It's probably, yeah, it's probably a little taller than the jump, so maybe 3.5 foot, something like that. But, so the dog is face to face with the chain this long and is face to face with me. So it just being up there is in defense. It just being up there because I can take a dog out of its element, and when I take a dog out of its element, I can lower the threshold. No different than if you're walking in a dark alley in France by yourself, you're going to hear every noise. Than if you're walking in your neighborhood that you grew up in that's a safe neighborhood. Because your senses are already where you're outside of your environment. So you have something called, I stole this from Gene England. Courage, fight, and hardness. You're in France in an area that you don't know, and there's a dark alley, but if you cut through this dark alley, it's going to save you some time walking to your hotel. You going into the dark alley, you have courage. The next night, you're starting to go towards the alley and somebody said, don't go in there. There's a guy that doesn't like people walking through that alley. And you're like, no one's going to tell me not to walk through that alley. And it might be a fight, and you say, well, I hope it is a fight. I can walk through this alley if I want. You're now a fight drive because you are actively saying, fine, I'll fight. It's time to fight, I'll fight. Now this is the one breeders need to be very aware of. And this is what we're all looking for right here. You go into the dark alley and you get your butt beat. This guy beats the tar out of you. Once you heal, you go back to that alley and you say, I hope I find him again. You have hardness because you are resilient. This is not training. That is genetics. Hardness is only genetics. And we call that in the Schutz world, heart. Do you know how much heart a Schutz dog has to have, seriously? I mean, think about this. Picture a pulley system right here, and I had this cloth on there, and I said, bite it. And I start pulling you up by it. Now I said, now run and bite it and swing. Now run and bite and swing, and I'm going to be hitting you with this stick. Now run and bite and swing, I'm going to hit you with this stick, and I'm going to tell you to let go. And if you don't let go just right, I'm going to hit you on the E. If I were the dog, I'd be like, I'm never biting that freaking thing again. But our dogs,
back and they do it again.
our dogs, week after week, come back and say, I love it. People underestimate that.
Yeah.
I mean, they underestimate that, and that's why the backyard bred dog, that people are like, well, they're not wanting to bite. I'm like, you can't train this. I can train a lot of things. I can't train heart. And I think that's up to all the breeders. That's why I'm not a breeder. I produce 3 litters. The only time I'll breed a dog is if I want a dog for myself. And I didn't get the female that I wanted, but my A litter, we had 3 dogs go to nationals. The B litter, that's Bourbon, Boris, Bronx. So my B litter and the C litter, a lot of those are police dogs now. That was the Malinois for the police dogs. I didn't quite get the pitch I was wanting, but they've done well. I only breed for me. Breeding is a pain in the butt. I would much rather somebody else breed and I get the puppy I like. Because breeding, this is why breeders that do it right, do you know how much worry it is? Like, first of all, is the mom going to be okay? Well, first of all, is she pregnant? Is the mom going to be okay? And is there going to be a clean delivery? Or the puppy's going to be healthy? Am I going to get parvo in the whelping room? Are they going to have good hips? Are they going to go to good homes? Are they going to be able to work? Is this going to be a home that they're going to say, I don't like the dog anymore and I have to take it back? You have worry your whole life.
It's stressful.
I like when I just get a puppy. Thank you. I love you.
Yes.